I think before Aokiji, like right now, we're kind of like, is Aokiji sword? Like, what is Aokiji's state? Like, why did he join Blackbeard? I think that when we'll get the Punk Hazard flashback when Aokiji reveals his true nature. And right now, I'm leaning towards he is a part of S.W.O.R.D, probably like super deep cover.
Yeah.
But the reason why it's he's in this situation where he is because it was an agreed upon situation between him and Akainu. We don't know the actual fights, right? Like the Jinbei told us the story, but we even seen recently, like Jinbei told us the story about Kuma. That's not the truth, right? Like, so when it comes to these perspectives, how perfect is it that, the Navy told us that, or told the world that Aokiji and Akainu fought, and Akainu ascended Fleet Admiral, and Aokiji left, and that was so detrimental, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's a very public news output that is a perfect cover for an admiral, an ex-admiral, to gain trust of a potential Yonko Blackbeard. Like, how do you refute that? Like, he lost a leg, he left the Navy, Akainu is Fleet Admiral, so it's like, then you're just like doubting the fight. Well, then there's also Punk Hazard. You could just go to Punk Hazard and see, like, no, they actually destroyed the island, turned it into a giant donut, fire and ice. And then I think the biggest reason why I think it makes sense is because it's a functional thing, because when you take a step back, right, the Navy left Marineford kind of in tatters, right? Like, because they lost a major Yonko, they lost a warlord in Blackbeard, and Blackbeard is now this devil fruit guy who's now like becoming a Yonko, but he's not Whitebeard. Whitebeard was fine because he wasn't like crazy. Blackbeard is crazy. And so now, like, and then after at the end of the Marineford, you get the notion that Blackbeard is like going to instigate a fight. Like, he was fighting Sengoku, fighting Garp, he was like destroying things. He's this crazy menace. Even the Gores, they were mentioning the problematic nature, and it would only make sense that the future Fleet Admiral would put in place a system that would counter it. And I think that's where Aokiji comes into play. This giant, like, and maybe my biggest question is, does Akainu know? And I think Akainu does know. I think Fleet Admirals are privy to more knowledge than anyone else. But also, we saw that in S.W.O.R.D, Kizaru, as an admiral, knew about S.W.O.R.D. He knew that Drake was doing some recon work for a certain organization. Obviously, we didn't know about S.W.O.R.D's name then, but then we get that light that Kizaru is there, and then or in the know. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Akainu or the admirals know about S.W.O.R.D, and it could be this overarching thing, because at the end of the day, as much as of a world government lapdog that Akainu is, Akainu doesn't like the Susu Dragons, right? He doesn't like the Gorosei. He doesn't address them in a positive way. So I wouldn't be surprised that, they have different senses of justice, but he could have his own way about going like towards it, right? Like, it might have been like, I'm better as the face of the Navy right now, and if you want to do what you're doing, go do it like undercover. And I think that might be the flashback. It's like a crazy thing, but I think that's like a perfect reveal for what Aokiji's doing. To have a giant admiral fight be cover to go undercover with Blackbeard. I think that'd be an incredible setup.
Akainu is the perfect guy to be like, I mean, you said he's not positive. Like, he's not positive toward this person, towards the Gorosei. He's not positive, period. He's just like such a menacing guy that he could be put in this position of power, and it's like, if he says what happened, it happened. Like, he's going to say whatever he says, and it goes. So he's the perfect person to be put in that position to go, yep, this happened, we had a fight, yada yada, to cover that sort of thing. Because someone else may be a bit suspicious. Like, I don't know about this, but he's just so stone-faced that it could actually be a pretty good cover.
I wouldn't be surprised if in a flashback we see like Aokiji and Akainu having dialogue. Aokiji tells him, I'm the one who set like Robin free. He admits those things. And when you really think about it, Aokiji would not be able to be a S.W.O.R.D member. He's too him. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with Garp. Garp, in my opinion, like he fits S.W.O.R.D. And Randy Choi was mentioning, like, he likes the idea that Garp was the inspiration rather than particularly like him being the leader or him being in S.W.O.R.D, because at the end of the day, S.W.O.R.D are they're spies, right? Like Kobe and Drake were like having midnight phone calls with each other. I don't see Garp doing that, because he's just sitting at Water 7. He's like, oh yeah, your dad is dragging the world. He couldn't keep that like under wraps, right? How can you have this dude in this covert operation? And so, like, you know, that aside, it's like Akainu's in the same way, right? Like Akainu would look at a situation and be like, you mean to tell me I have to do like listen to Blackbeard? No, I'm just gonna kill everybody, right? Like Akainu would not be able to listen to anybody. He wouldn't, like, if he was Drake's position under Kaido, right, going undercover, Akainu would just like try to murder Kaido, right? Like it would stop there.
Exactly.
There's no covertness about Akainu. So like I think there was a mutual understanding, as crazy as that sounds, because one thing that's really interesting is a Jinbei inserted a quick line. He was just like, oh, like Akainu couldn't bear the he gave mercy to his longtime friend Akainu. Aokiji. I'm like, I was like, that's a weird way to spin that conversation, right? So I think there's something deeper behind that.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, and that makes a lot of sense. It lines up with the character of Akainu kind of being against Stoneface and just kind of, you know, he wouldn't fit into those sort of other positions, but that does definitely make a lot of sense.